named classical photography, we might say it's something like this. Yeah. So this is a reflection. Again, we just try to put some meat on the bones of Barad's argument. This is a reflection, and this is a diffraction. Yeah? Now, so what makes a diffraction?
The differences.
Sorry?
The differences.
The differences. That's good, yes, exactly. Diffraction puts forward the idea of difference. Because when you look at this image, really, all you can notice is identity. Even though none of us probably knows what Marilyn Monroe looks like or looked like in real life. When we look at this image, we feel that we kind of know her. Yeah? Do you agree? We have this feeling. Why we have this feeling? Because we are dealing here with identity. There is this presupposed identity between the image and the real. Yeah? Now, no one will look at this and say, God, but this is so different from the way she really looked. You know? That's just not how we operate. Why? It's a good question. But we don't look at it like this. You know? When you look at a photograph of an object, you usually engage with the similarity, not with how different it is. Yeah? You don't say, oh, but it looks nothing like the real thing. That's normally not the response you will have. It's interesting, it's curious to ask why. But when you look at this, the notion of difference is kind of built in. And it's present there together with identity. Yes, it's still Marilyn Monroe. You still notice the way the reference to the real is still present, but there is something else there, which is there's lots of them. And because there's lots of them, the notion of identity kind of undermined. It's not undermined because you have here something that is not identical. It's undermined because almost there is a kind of superabundance of identity. You get so much identity that you kind of throw up.
Is it because you mentioned before materiality, that's like due to the process as well, that it's like it is in between. So in between is not only developing the super identity. So
Correct, yeah. What an image like this creates is, or it doesn't really, it just in a sense puts forward in a much more tangible way the difference rather than identity. But it's not, identity is not obliterated. If there was no identity, there would be no Marilyn. Yeah, because when you see a kind of comparable, so you don't say, oh well, how different it is from Marilyn. Why not? Well, it's just how we are. Yeah? Okay. I want to show you another image, which I think might be interesting in terms of thinking about diffraction, and that will be Thomas Demand. And right. So do you know the work of Thomas Demand? Do you know about how it works? So my question is, can we see that also as diffraction? The reason I bring this, I don't want you to think that the only way to get to diffraction is by copying endlessly. It's a good way, but there are many others, and loads of them are not explored yet. So on what level this is a diffraction? Or maybe it isn't.
The process itself, like the making of the sculptures, also form the work.
Tell us, if you could tell us briefly what is the process here, so we know that everyone knows it.
So he makes paper sculptures based on sort of historical or politically charged moments in time,
Right.
and then photographs them at the end.
And you remember this one? What that was? I think it was the kitchen. Was it the hiding place of I forgot. No? Okay, never mind. I will find out. So he makes a sculpture from pieces of paper that recreates a certain site, and then what?
And then photographs.
And then photographs.
So if I took a piece of work that I showed on Monday
Yes.
and put that in front of a washing machine and photographed it, would that be diffraction? It can be a no there.
Well, first I think your work was already a diffraction.
Yes. Okay.
And I think all you always work with diffraction. So it's not like you need to somehow add it to your work. You like some sort of spicy sauce or something. It's not like that. That's how you operate. We're just trying to.
But that's the only way you can operate, because we live within a rhizome where we're getting all of these influences.
There's a hell of a lot of this going around still, Just to go to any traditional, any normal, I'm saying that. If you just need to go to any mainstream degree show, and there's a lot of this kind of thing, and people happily reflecting, and so it's.
But it's the way that we are working as a group.
But it's true that artists generally somehow instinctively realize that reflection is a problematic methodology. Not that diffraction is unproblematic, but the moment you start thinking about your methodology, then work like this becomes very difficult. Now, I just want to go back, and I think another thing to add to the way Thomas Demand works. He usually destroys his sculptures. So the only thing that is left is the photograph. But the photograph has to be taken of the sculpture in a very specific way, and the sculpture has to be constructed for the photograph. So it looks like a photograph so it looks realistic from a specific angle.
But we're told, we had to be told all that, so then the work isn't standing in its own right. It needs an explanation, it needs statements, it needs writing, it needs reason.
It's true, but even if you're not told any of that, if you just look at this image, you still feel that something is
Weird.
not right about it.
Yeah.
Of course, if you just had a quick glance, you might not notice, and that's part of its mechanism. But if you keep looking, it sort of reveals itself to you as somehow wrong, or
So it's unsettling. And
It's unsettling.
And you start to sort of question it, or just question yourself. But with the Marilyn or class, any class, you say, oh, it is what it is. It's just there. I'm not even. You just accept it. But with something like this, you're kind of starting to go, is that real? That looks odd.
So can someone tell us now in what way this is a reflection?
Maybe because it's staged.
It's staged.
It's part of the real world because it's like a paper sculpture.
Yeah.
And it's also not
But
because
it's,
It's not the original.
So he's self-conscious, he's trying, he's trying to, do something unconventionally in a very
Because
unconventional
also,
way.
I think also it is the union of the original and the how to say that? It's the in between.
It is in between.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it stands in between all the copies of all the models.
It is in between what? In between.
The original
Yeah.
and the. I don't know, but
The-
I
the
don't want
co-
to use the word copy because.
That's right. Yeah. It really unsettles the notion of the image as a copy of the real. Yeah. Because what is it a copy of? Well, it is a copy of a paper model. Yeah. And it even if you don't know the backstory, in a sense, the backstory is in the image because it just looks like it is badly made, badly drawn. Yeah. So there is a way here to talk about the way someone already said the way the world and the image are not on separate sides with a sort of divide between them, but they continuously interact with each other. Yeah, the image manifests to us that it is artificial. The first thing it tells us, it tells us two things at once. It tells us I am a reflection of something because there is a stove, there is a bowl, there is a sausage, there is a jar. Yeah, and so clearly this is a reflection. But this reflection also tells us, do not trust me. Do not believe me. I am a forgery. I am a fake. I look like the real thing, but I'm not the real thing. So it's an image of something that also tells you that it isn't. Yeah? So it does both things at the same time. While you might say that the Merlin here, or is kind of saying, this is me, and that's it. Now, maybe that is also not true. Maybe that is also a diffraction.
But we're swinging, like I was saying, we're going between the truth and the untruth again, aren't we?
No,
Why
we
not?
are going. We're going away. We're moving from truth and untruth to a situation in which there is no truth.
But if you swing between the truth and the untruth, then you hit the piece in between, surely.
But
Well,
that is not true and it's not
This kind of wants to be both truth and untruth. Yeah. Now, because when you say truth and untruth, it's almost like yes and no, positive and negative, a binary choice. While here, in a sense, the image doesn't want to be a binary. It wants to be the 1 and the 0 all at once. Yeah, it's exactly diffraction between the truth and the untruth.
But can it be the ripple?
It's the ripple, exactly, that's the diffraction. Yeah, but in this ripple, you see, the universal value of truth is undermined. Yeah, there is no truth here because there is no tangible, physical, real of which that is a copy. Yeah, the real itself appears as a papier-mâché. The real is a house of cards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that kind of the problem with reflection, and people like De Man spoke about it, and Derrida. The problem with reflection as your model is that the very idea that the real is true and stable and fixed, and the image is its copy, is itself an ideology. Okay, let's take a break. And let's come back again. What Really?
Sorry.
Ah, okay, no, coding is okay. You also need to go to the coding workshop?
Yeah.
Are you going? You are.
Wait, I thought we got, didn't we go to Jarvis?
Huh?
Yeah. Jarvis is coming here.
No, I'm going to a coding workshop elsewhere.
You have to sign up for that.
Oh, God. Yeah.
No, yeah.
But there is also Kathy Rogers coming today.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
things overlap. Maybe, could someone record Kathy Rogers' talk?